Hey guys, this is Kim. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can use the auto layout feature on the frames in Figma to automatically place elements on a layout. So on the left side, I have a profile card that is well centered, and on the right side, I have all the elements spread across a frame. So what we're going to do in this video is that I'm going to show you step by step how you can take each element and put them together, compose them together in a way that makes it makes the end component flexible. So flexible in the sense that if we needed to change any part of that frame, the overall layout will keep its composure. By that I mean, let's say the name, we want to change the name for a longer name. So my long name, we can see that it remains aligned in the middle. And similarly, if we needed to add a second description, we can see how adding this text here pushed the buttons below to maintain the same padding between the top part and the bottom part. And lastly, if we wanted to add a new button, we can see how adding this new button shifted the 3D button to the left and kept the symmetry, the alignment on the layout. So this is what we're going to see. So I'll remove that first. I'll clean up this. And this is what we're going to look at, and we will see how this is done using the auto layout of a frame. So the first thing is we'll go through each of the features that are provided using the auto layout. And we're going to start by looking at the top part, which is the title part. So this title part is composed by 3 elements, which is the icon, the name, and the description. So on this frame, I will start by grouping the 3 of them into a frame, and I will call that in the same way title. Then on the frame itself, you can apply the auto layout. And here on the auto layout, we have multiple features. The first drop-down asks us whether we want to have the layout set vertically or horizontally. So vertically means that you will get your element put in a y-axis, so in vertical. And horizontal means you would have them on the x-axis, so horizontal. For the title, we want them to have vertical because they are aligned vertically from top to bottom. While for the buttons here, we want them to have an alignment horizontal because they are from left to right. So what we do here is that we keep vertical, and we can set as well whether we want to have the width as auto-defined. And auto-defined width means that it will take the maximum width of all the elements within the frame. Or we can set a fixed width. So for our case, we will use auto width, which will push all the elements to the max width. And in our case, the max width is actually the bottom description. The buttons here are the padding which we can add, so horizontal padding and vertical padding, and then this is the padding between each items. So for example, if I put 10 here, then we can see that we shifted. So we can see that we shifted from 10 on the right side, and here similarly we shifted from 10 on the left side. So I leave it to 0, and then 17 here is the padding between each of the items. So we will put 10 here, and we can see as well that the elements are not ordered in the right way. So we want the image at the top, which we can change by using the arrow. And lastly, the alignment needs to be centered in the middle. So what we can do is select each of the element within the frame and align them to center. So we have our first frame aligned properly. What we can do next is similarly take all the buttons, put them into a frame, call that frame buttons, and set the auto layout as horizontal. And as I did the change to horizontal, I'll redo it again. We can see that the buttons get aligned properly instantly. And what we can do then is put a padding, say a padding of 5, and then we can put it at the bottom and then shift shift this guy to the right, and we will have the same alignment as here. Now, because we want to have a padding in between the title and the buttons that remains the same even after changing the top frame, we can also put them together in another frame, which we will call content, and set that as a vertical auto layout. And with a padding between element of 30. And similarly, we can set this to be auto width. And now we have the main part of our layout, which we can then set to the middle and then add a constraint to center and top. So we also want to set those two as align middle, and then we are able to resize the frame to the same dimension. And then lastly, we add a drop shadow. And what we can do next is make sure that we have the same. So say the same, roughly the same padding, and then we can move this one to and we're done. So we end up with a card component that is extendable and is flexible enough to cater for new changes. In the same way as the other one was. So I hope you like this video, and I see you on the next one.